So in the, I guess, southwest, we have Eery in the color blue, playing as the Celts. In the northeast, in the color red, we have StriKeR, also playing as the Celts. So like right away, StriKeR going for that quick 200 wood. Gonna drop down that early barracks. Eery, on the other hand, looks like he's doing the same thing, just a little bit slower. Still 20 wood away. So, StriKeR's gonna get his barracks up quicker. Might have a little bit of an opportunity to apply some early pressure. You see, Eery is building his barracks with 2 villagers, so trying to make up some time here. Eery using his scout to gather some goats in the middle of the map. And right away, StriKeR rallying some spearmen. Looks like in a defensive position, so he's not gonna start walking across the map just yet. StriKeR now start scouting out Eery's beginning hunt. Already has 2 spearmen out on the field. Eery has 1, rocking that heroic Spartan vanity gear. No players pushing out yet, kinda all just standing their ground in base. StriKeR does have the numbers advantage. If you're kind of new to the game, one unique aspect of the Celtic civilization is they required a certain number of houses in order to advance to the next age. In this case, the Bronze Age requires 3 houses. That's why both players here are dropping down these quick houses. And it looks like Eery's going to be the first guy to be aggressive when his spearmen move out across the map here. Just gonna get change something here quickly. And Eery right away knows where to attack, and StriKeR's not aware. He's gonna lose a villager real quick here. One thing with the Celt spearmen is they're really low HP, but they pack a punch. That 12 DPS, so able to pick off a villager pretty quick there. Wow, Eery's up actually by 3 villagers. But StriKeR did go for that quick Bronze Age. So now that StriKeR's in the Bronze Age, he's going to start that Lawn Swordsman production, which is the anti-infantry unit, pretty much the bread and butter of the Celtic army. And oh, Eery does manage to snipe another villager, so paused by StriKeR. So hold on, we're having a little bit of a lag spike here. Let's just Okay, let's... StriKER saying there's a little bit of lag, so I'm just going to resign here to hopefully try and speed some things up. So 20 villagers to the 16 for Eery is dropping down his second town center now. This map is Treasure Island, famous for this island in the middle of the sea here, which once scouted as a bunch of gold and stone mines for the players. So it looks like StriKER did slightly overgather stone, waiting for a little bit more wood to throw down his second town center. And is forced to do it more in a defensive position in these berry bushes. Looks like Eery's army has 13 spearmen and 4 lawn swords to the 9 spears and 2 lawn swords of StriKER. So Eery's army is much bigger, and I'm a little worried for StriKER here. Chat, let me know how the stream quality is for you guys, if it's laggy at all. I can always make adjustments for game 2. Good reaction time by StriKER here. Able to pull these villagers. Looks like he will lose that storehouse. StriKER has the same number of lawn swords here as Eery, but there's just more spearmen, so I don't think he can really fight that. You know, we see a dock being made for StriKER, and there's already a dock for Eery. He's starting the production of that first swan ship. I am surprised that Eery chooses to kind of retreat there. I think he could have maybe wiped out that StriKER army. StriKER knows he's behind in military population, throwing down that second barracks as well as a sacred grove. Meanwhile, Eery has 2 barracks as well. Doing really good job on getting his storehouse techs. Let me see the first swan ship of Eery. StriKER gets his out in the nick of time, and we're gonna have that little boat battle. I can see Eery's attention is elsewhere. He's focusing on his raiding force, so StriKER is able to get in a couple volleys for free here. Should win this battle. Well, Eery is pushing into the wood line of StriKER, and StriKER hasn't seen this. He's gonna lose a lot of villagers here. Does win the boat battle, but just barely. Only 100 HP left on that swan ship. We'll look at the villager count. 38 to 23. That is quite a big lead for Eery this early into the game. See, Eery is throwing down a second dock now. Try and win this water battle. See a second swan ship out for StriKER. Looks like he's going to retreat with his low HP one and repair it with this villager. So that's something StriKER has going for him. It looks like he should win this sea battle. Well, he is choosing to retreat with his second launch swan ship. There's a lot of weak. Thank you, Ace, for the in-game time. Don't know why that was disabled. So 13 lawn swordsmen here. I don't see a druid yet for StriKER. They are pretty gold heavy. 90 gold, and he is a little low. Oh, there's 3 druids in Eery's army, so. And Eery is taking the lead in Swanship, so I don't think StriKeR can take on 4 Swanships to his lone, and yet StriKER's calling GG. Unable to come back with losing those early villagers. Okay, well the players, StriKER chooses the next map. Let's hop into the post-game stats here. Looks like Eery did gather about 3,000 resources more than StriKER. Players actually fairly even on villagers and text. It just looks like StriKER losing that water, didn't want to continue. Villagers training, as you can see, Eery doing a little bit better job. There's a couple missed villagers by StriKER. Okay. Next map is going to be Equal Footing. Looks like StriKER is going to change his civ to the Persians. And Eery is going to elect to stay as the Celts. So this is a best of 5, so players are allowed to play the same civ in game 2. They'll just be required to switch in game 3. One of the rules in the Cup of Beer 6 tournament was a minimum of 2 civs have to be played per series. Zerdin, you're asking why there's only one veto. Eery didn't elect to veto any maps. StriKeR was the one who vetoed inland. You're just tuning in. So here we go into game 2. The south of the map, in the color blue, we have Eery playing as the Celts once again. The north, in the color red, we have StriKeR playing as the Persians. Now the map is equal footing. Pretty much the most balanced map in the map pool. Right away we see StriKeR managing to already find 4 cows and is dropping down that early barracks. Here he's found 2 cows. And is throwing down his own barracks. So this is one of the, I'd say, one of the classic matchups in Age of Empires Online, the Persian versus Celts. Such an interesting dynamic with Persians having usually go pretty bowman heavy, and the Celts are forced to make that slinger counter unit. Okay. So we see a couple Sparbar now out on the field for StriKeR. Still hasn't pushed across the map. Meanwhile, Eery's sitting at 3 spearmen. Starting to throw down those houses required for the Bronze Age. One of the unique techs that Persians have in their arsenal is this aid tent, which grants the storehouses the ability to hear nearby friendly units. So it really makes it tough for, at least in the early game, for Persian opponents to raid. This aid tent's a great upgrade. Makes it really hard for those villagers to get sniped down. Doesn't mean Eery's not going to try though. Is rallying some spearmen here on the west of StriKER's wood line. He's going to start poking away maybe at some of these villagers. He is under town center fire. And you can see the low HP already loses 1 spearman to that town center fire. Nothing too fancy. StriKeR looks like he is on the way to the Bronze Age, starting to gather that stone for his second town center. Is moving over Sparbar to try and intercept these Celt spearmen, which do have a speed advantage over these Sparbars, a 7-6. Oh, and this is going to be interesting timing. Are they going to see this StriKeR villager? I don't think so. So StriKeR now in the Bronze Age. Right away getting that handsaw upgrade.
Ahura Mas, the bless.
Zumo Di Pomelo is now following. Thanks for the follow. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name. Welcome to the Project Celeste Twitch channel. This is the Cup of Beer 6 tournament, semi-finals. Sponsored by Lacaume, Artisher, and community donations. So do see that quick second town center for StriKeR, once again in a defensive position on these berry bushes. Looks like Eery's now hit the Bronze Age, has the resources for his second town center. Puts it in a really nice position in this woodline and gold mine. And it looks like these Sparbar did manage to snare Eery's spearman. He's gonna get a couple picks. Do see that StriKER's trained a spearman here. I don't know if that was a misclick. Typically you don't see spearmen from the Persian player when versing the Celts. Celts don't have any cavalry in Age 2 or the Bronze Age. They're mostly an infantry focused civ. We do see an archery range as StriKER's second military building, actually throwing down a second archery range. We'll have to see how Eery responds. Throwing down a second barracks. I don't think Eery did scout that second archery range. I think his scout was just out of field of view. But he's going to throw down an archery range to counter. Eery is going to come in, and it looks like he is going to snipe that archery range foundation. Of course, when buildings are being built, they're susceptible to bonus damage, I guess, and they can go down real quick. Music volume still too loud, really? Hopefully that's better for you guys, or I'll talk a little louder. So there is now a couple bowmen here for StriKER, and I think with that you should be able to win this engagement. There is a couple lawn swordsmen here. Well, it's gonna be close. And it looks like StriKER has to pull back here. It's just too many reinforcements from Eery. There's still 8 lawn swordsmen in that army, so I think StriKER overestimated his force. Just didn't have enough bowmen. Have a look at the villager lead. 36 for Eery to the 37 of StriKER. So both players really on top of their villager production. Really even. We do see a stables being built for StriKER. Not quite a 1-1-1 opening because he has that second archery range, but it's always nice to get some Asabara on the field for raiding purposes, and Persian Asabara overall pretty strong unit. It looks like StriKER's base is pretty compact here. Gonna make it really tough for Eery to kind of find any weak points. 2 archery ranges for Eery and a Sacred Grove, starting that Druid production. We see our second big fight here. Eery does have 11 slingers, and looks like he's doing a good job at slinger tagging these bowmen. And I think StriKER's just gonna have to stay in his base for a while here and try and mass up a bigger army before pushing out. More barracks going down for Eery. Players doing a really good job with their storehouse attacks once again. Do notice Eery doesn't have picker's gloves, even though he is gathering berries here with 5 villagers. He's floating a lot of wood, so that's something he might want to get. Berries are the slowest food gathering resource, so any upgrade you can get to speed that up is really needed. I do like this positioning for StriKeR. I think he should be able to win this fight. He's got some Asabara and the Sparbar on top of those slingers, and yeah, it's a very good engagement there by StriKeR. Taking the population lead. He's gonna chase down these retreating Celtic units with his Asabara. You see Scale Mail in queue for StriKeR, so he's got down his armory. Gonna chooses to go for the 20% melee infantry armor and melee cavalry armor upgrade first. See Eery throwing down 2 armories himself. Starting to make some spearmen to try and counter the Asabara of StriKeR. Villager count now, let's see, 60 to the 60, so again, both players really good job on their villager production. A little bit of a house wall by Eery. Good reaction time, getting those villagers garrisoned, not losing any. Nice watch posts by Eery. We'll see these villagers hoping to gather from these berry bushes. And in response, he's going to move 6 spearmen here to try and raid them. There is 8 Asabara here, but these spearmen, I think should be able to bring these guys down. There is a lot of weak Asabara. No plow upgrade yet for StriKeR. Is starting to build a couple farms. Doesn't look like the follow selected units hotkey is working. So a little raid here by StriKeR, but he's not really getting any villagers killed, and it looks like he's going to lose a lot of his Asabara for free. Meanwhile, we'll see another big fight in the center of the map. And it's just slingers here from Eery, so these Asabara and Sparbar are loving life right now. So StriKeR did manage to get up to the Silver Age. See Asabara champion in queue, Bowman champion in queue. So definitely wants to wait for those upgrades to finish before the next fight. Starting to gather the stone required for his 3rd town center. This is Silver Age now in queue for Eery. And StriKeR does not want to fight here. Retreat. Wait for these upgrades. These upgrades will help him a lot. Also, this is a very scary slinger ball from Eery, up to 36 slingers. There's no shield rim yet for StriKeR, so those slingers are going to be able to do some decent damage. Throwing down more and more stables. We do see a War Academy build for StriKeR. One of the unique buildings for the Persian Civ. Has some good toggle text that they can use. Shield wall, which will give these Sparbara lots of Pierce armor. Don't think it's going to finish in time. I mean, this looks like a pretty good position for StriKeR to hold. Looks like the meat shield of Eery's army does fall, so once again these slingers are forced to run away from these Sparbara and Asabara. Looks like Eery is starting to transition into a Woad Raider and Bowman army. StriKeR doing a good job to flank with a couple more Asabara, and this fight is going really well for him. Look at the villager lead, 81 to 79. Just look like Eery's starting to transition into that late game economy, throwing down 2 markets in the corner of the map, throwing down his 3rd town center. Meanwhile, StriKeR has his on this gold mine, and he's gonna start building his own markets, throwing down an edge defensive wall. So this watch post has 32 HP, but will spot this fortress. We see a couple Woad Raiders from Eery coming over here, trying to deny this building. See some forward siege workshops for StriKeR. Always nice to see. There's a lot of Asabara here getting on top of the ranged units of Eery. Once these rams start coming out, it's going to be hard for Eery to hold this. Where did those villagers go? I think StriKeR actually lost all those villagers building that fortress. Meanwhile, StriKeR is on the doorstep, doing a really good job with his armory upgrades. We see the first ram. He's gonna run into some Woads, which do have that bonus damage. Well, this fight does not look good for StriKeR. He's kind of getting surrounded here. He pushed in a little too far. He is fighting under 2 town centers. Yeah, just a little bit too aggressive here by StriKeR. Starting to make mounted archers, which is interesting. Wonder if he's just planning on raiding with those guys. There is some horsemen here for Eery. Look at Eery's upgrades. Not nearly as good as StriKER's. Kind of raids going on all over the place. StriKER doing a good job with these mounted archers, sniping some of the caravans. Meanwhile, Eery's pushing out with his ranged force. It's gonna bring down these siege workshops. It looks like StriKER's kind of struggling for resources, falling behind in population by a lot here. Have a lot of wood and gold, so he should at least make more bowmen. So he's struggling for food. A lot of villagers on wood here, 32 villagers. Does have 3 markets up, but there is some horsemen here. Well, Eery is pushing it into the front of StriKER's base. StriKER's gonna have to find a response for all these ranged units from the Celtic player.
Ahura Mazda bless.
General Karuma is now part of Celeste. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. See a nice Woad Raider raid up in the north of StriKER's base. Gonna get a couple villagers here. Doing a good job of distracting StriKER down low with his main force. StriKER still hasn't seen that. Oh yes he does. Pulls his villagers. It's a good reaction time. Oh, there's a lot of mounted archers, and these slingers are countering the mounted archers pretty hard. StriKeR definitely needs more Sparbara. I do see some Immortals in queue. Throwing down a lot of Immortal camps. So it's definitely the right unit by StriKeR, but maybe it's going to be a little too late for him to get out a good enough mass. So there is 27 bowmen here. Of Eery. Let's have a look at the villagers. 104 villagers to the 100 of Eery. So like, StriKeR still has a lot of villagers, but they're all kind of not on the right resource. Needs more on food. Looks like StriKER's migrated his whole economy over to the far west of the map.
Ahura Mazda blessed.
Breakfast Penguin is now following. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good Saturday. And now it looks like Eery is standing in StriKER's caravan line. Holy man, follow train. Daskar, part of Celeste. Thanks for the follow. StriKER now sitting at 14 Immortals, but he has no counter to these Celtic bowmen. And the Immortals trade fairly even versus these horsemen of Eery. And StriKER taps out, unable to hold this pressure from Eery. Have a look at the stats here. It was a much closer game, and things were looking good for StriKER early on. I just think he pushed in a little too deep into Eery's base, and Eery was able to get a good flank with all his Woad Raiders. Resources gathered. Eery up about almost 6,000 resources. Tech-wise, fairly even. Unit kills almost identical, surprisingly. Villagers train. Big spike by StriKER. I think he did get his third town center up a little quicker. Look at the military population graph. As you can see, this is when StriKER moved into Eery's base and pretty much just got obliterated. That was the turning point in the game right there. So Eery wins game 2 and pushes StriKER on the verge of elimination.
Ahura Master bless.
Dayton is now following. Thanks for the follow. It looks like StriKeR has selected Watering Hole as his the next map. One of the bigger maps in the map pool. Has surprisingly gone with the Celtic civilization, so no cav until age 3. So I think StriKeR's game plan here is probably try to get to the late game. Let's see if StriKeR can take one off Eery and stay alive in this tournament. $40 viewers. Wow. I think that's one of the highest I've seen. Here we go into game 3. So again in the Celts in the color blue we have Eery playing as the Persians. Meanwhile in the north in the color red we have StriKeR returning once again to the Celts. We'll have to see both players choose to build a barracks once again. It is a larger rush distance, so wouldn't be surprised if they change it up. Right off the bat, doesn't look like that's going to happen. So yeah, StriKeR throwing down that early barracks. And next match will be the Battle of Germany. Gonna have Zerdan versus Carnage. That's the next series. I'm not gonna say next match because I hope StriKeR can force a game 4 here, make it interesting. I see a barracks being dropped for Eery. Oh, lost my mouse there for a second. Still long distance gathering wood. Looks like he's just gonna get enough to build his wood storehouse. Right, this time StriKeR choosing to be aggressive right off the bat, right away rallying those spearmen forward. No 8 tent in queue for Eery. Very interesting map spawn here actually, looking at the center island. Pretty much forest all on Eerie's side, so this favors StriKeR. Nice defensible position here if he's able to take that center of the map. It's got that natural wall. Trees. Barbara being trained for Eery, already has 2. By the time these Celts spearmen get over there, there's going to be too many defending units for them to handle. You see A tent now being researched by Eery. Looks like StriKER's gonna group up his spearmen before pushing in, but there's already 6 Barbara here. So I don't think this is gonna work out for StriKER. And there's a tent. I think he should cease spearman production, just trying to get up to that Bronze Age, as soon as possible. Like he needs one more house to do so. See the Bronze Age in queue for StriKER. Resign to reduce some lag. Eery on the way to the Bronze Age, trying to gather that stone. Same as StriKeR, just hits the Bronze Age now, still needs about 80 more stone before he can get his second town center. Getting that long swordsman production, handsaw, upgrade, all standard stuff. Might actually be able to take this storehouse real quick, which isn't bad. Now that it has A10s, it's worth sniping these buildings whenever you can. 10 Sparabara to the 7 Spearmen, so the StriKeR does not want to fight here, but it looks like he is snared. Slightly delaying Eerie's second town center. See that little micro step there by Eery? I think he wanted to wait a little, like a second longer before dropping down that town center, just so StriKeR wouldn't see the building foundation. Next level play right there. I mean, I don't think StriKeR could have denied it, but you never know. Better safe than sorry. We see an early dock actually being built by StriKeR. I like this play. As you see, this map has a ring of water in the center of the map, so military ships would definitely help gain that map control. StriKeR choosing to actually start with some fishing boats to boost his early game economy. I mean, it's pretty smart. He's got some, he's got map control with his military unit, so doesn't expect any docks from Eery anytime soon. You see a second military building for Eery is that archery range. Also got his handsaw. Second military building for StriKeR is also an archery range, starting to get those slingers out. Looks like Eery's gonna be stuck on berries, so it does get that Picker's Glove upgrade. We see 2 fishing boats out for StriKeR. Just about finished the third one. Still hasn't gotten net lures. I think around 3 or 4 fishing boats, and you probably want to look at getting this upgrade just to get that conservation and gathering rate buff. Villager counts, let's see, 32 for Eery to the 34 of StriKeR. So he was able to get his second town center up just a little bit quicker, and as a result, does have the villager lead. $18 Sparabara and 5 bowmen out for Eery. Meanwhile, little infantry force here from StriKeR. Nice watch post, trying to hide it in the trees here. Kind of a proxy dock from Eery. Looks like he changes his mind where to throw it down. Just out of vision of this Persian watch post. He's gonna see this one once it starts building though. You see a swan ship in queue for StriKeR, so he might be able to deny these docks from Eery. StriKeR is on the way to the Silver Age. No Silver Age in queue yet for Eery. You know, Eery will definitely get 1 dock up before the swan ship gets over here. Right away, starting queue or production on his galleys. StriKeR needs to move over his army with this swan ship. Cannot let these 3 docks of Eery get up. Swan ship's gonna try and snipe these villagers. Good reaction time by Eery to dodge those shots. Does get 3 docks up and doesn't lose any of those villagers. StriKeR in response throwing down 3 of his own docks. Once Eery reaches the Silver Age, he can start making some ram ships. And think with this little bit of water, ram ships probably be pretty good if you can like flank from both sides. There'll be no room for the Celtic swan ships to dance or micro in. I just see swan ship champion in queue for StriKeR. Rarely see this upgrade, but it gives 50% health bonus to these swan ships. Swan ships are a little bit more expensive than the Persian galley, but they are a lot stronger unit. 250 more HP, 10 more DPS, and they are now champion, so even more HP on them. Where is StriKeR's army? He needs to get this army down here and save these docks. I mean, these swan ships are really powerful units. Should be able to fight off these Persian galleys. StriKeR, what are you doing? At least trying to try and make it look like you want to save these docks. I feel like there is a lot of free units you could be killing here. Now that swan ship champion upgrade is just kind of just worthless at this point. Here he is now on the way to the Silver Age. He's getting net lures and starting his switch to fishing boats. Villager count 56 to the 61. Do see an armory built for StriKeR, but no upgrades completed at this point in the game. Do we have an armory for Eery? Don't see one yet. Doing a good job with his galleys, really spreading them out on this center ring. It pretty much has vision all the way around. Do see the third town center for StriKeR getting up. I'm not quite out of this game yet, but I feel like the longer it goes into the Silver Age, at least, the better for Eery. He's throwing down 4 mortal camps, which is pretty much the hard counter to the Celtic civilization. At least until the Celts get to that golden age and can get out Carpentums and more of a cavalry-based force. There is 19 Woad Raiders out on the field for StriKeR, and I would really like to see him be a little bit more active with them. Try and get some raids. There is a lot of kind of exposed units for Eery. Eery does have some good watch posts or key watch posts. Keeping an eye on the flanking routes. I mean, these villagers are protected by Eery's third town center. Lawn Swordsman champion now in queue for StriKeR, and he's starting to build some sacred deer. He's sitting at 3 sacred groves. One thing I noticed from StriKeR over the years is he kind of prefers to gather from these sacred deer versus farms. Does have that hunting dogs upgrade to speed it up. As you can see here, starting to harvest these sacred deers. So these deers can be used for food as well as spiritual rites. If StriKeR gets an augur, he can sacrifice one of those deers for some pretty good buffs, or timed buffs. See a market for Eery being dropped. No market yet for StriKeR. Village account 76 to the 80. I think the difference is definitely Eery's 7 fishing boats here. We go, the Woad Raiders push out at like the perfect moment, do snipe that villager Eery sent to the east to build that market. There is 6 undefended villagers here that potentially could be raided by StriKeR. Looks like he's gonna go try and save his watch post. See that charge animation by the Woad Raiders here. So he's gonna be able to snipe these villagers. They are gonna retreat to the water, so nice move there by Eery. Avoids losing any, puts them, gets them in range of this galley to defend them. And now you can see Eery's pushing in. So StriKeR's running across this water. Is gonna run into these galleys. These galleys do have splash damage. These Woads actually look like they're pretty effective against these boats of the Eery. There's a 25 bowmen, 21 immortals, so all these Woad Raiders or StriKeR are just getting massacred. It's GG. StriKeR cannot hold that push from Eery. Just didn't have the right counter to Persian army. And it looks like Eery takes the first series 3 games to 1. Valiant effort by StriKeR. Just a couple little mistakes and he couldn't, I guess, come back. So well played by Eery, well played by StriKeR, but Eery does advance to the finals. Look at the post-game stats. StriKeR actually outgathering Eery by a small margin. Also better tech, so he was sitting in a good spot. It's, I think as we saw in the first 2 games, the perfect timing push by Eery, able to take full advantage for StriKER's economy could pull off. As you can see, both players actually have a lot of food in the bank. So might have just come down to not enough production buildings for StriKER. But I do think those Woad Raiders went up against the raw units in Eery.